welcome back, everybody, and a happy and healthy new year. It's Corked Stats here on the Mayo Media Network with your host, the big dude with the big mouth from the Big Apple, Big Johnny Stud, coming to you worldwide from Brooklyn, New York, as always. That's right. Death, taxes, sun rising in the east, setting in the west, bears making dookie in the woods, and the big dude up before the crack of dawn to bring you this, the fastest show anywhere in MLB. You can count on that. Props again to my man Patty Mayo for giving us the platform. Everybody get up down there, subscribe, hit the like button when you're done, and if you really like what we're doing here at the Mayo Media Network, I've got some other videos just like this on the Corked Stats channel itself. We should be here on the MMN every Monday and Friday, and any extra stuff I can get in that meat of the sandwich will be at the Corked Stats channel. Make sure you check that out. We're already making our way down the SP rankings from the very top with some detailed analysis, working charts and graphs into the argument. And then just the other day, I wanted to parse through the very best hitters in point leagues, who you should draft first. Juan Soto, Vlad Guerrero, or Bryce Harper. Please make sure to check out that video today. We're going to continue along the player debate vibe. We're going to keep that going. Found myself in a high-stakes draft the other day. It was the end of the fourth round. I needed an outfielder, and I didn't know which one to pick. One of the benefits of slow drafts, if you ask me, are these situations in particular where I just stop, I don't feel rushed, I don't care what's going on the message board, people tell me to hurry up, I'm going to sit and I'm going to break it down. I like to break teams and players into compartmentalized baskets. It's just easier that way. You know, I talk really fast, I move really fast. I want to make sure not to overreact. We always want to be proactive rather than reactive, and that's one of the best ways to do it. Slow yourself down, kind of segment all the information, and that'll help us parse through it and figure out exactly where we want to go. So we're going to look at Tyler O'Neill with the big guns on the St. Louis Cardinals and Randy, the Macho Man Arozarena, on those Tampa Bay Devil Rays, those flat fish of Florida. So without any further ado, let's dive on in to the player debate. Everybody, when we're done, make sure you're subscribed. Let me know how I'm doing. Get up in those comments. First place we're going to go is that tail of the tape. Boxing had it right on this one. Always good to just zoom out and take a look. On the bottom there, you'll see the career stats laid out. And above it, on the left, Randy Arozarena StatCast. On the right, Tyler O'Neill's StatCast for people on the audio versions. You can check this out right on the homepage of Baseball Savant. Make sure you're bookmarking that if you want to hang with us. We are going to get into the muck and the mire. You could count on that one. So you see the stats at the bottom of the screen. Randy and Tyler, really kind of similar career paths. Tyler O'Neill has a bit more experience. But what I mean is we are looking for combinations of power and speed, decent averages that won't kill you. Disciplinary baskets we're probably a little bit worried about. When I'm talking about that, I mean strikeouts and walks, and lots of production because they're both on pretty decent teams. Now, when we look at the overall production, I think the speed clearly goes to Randy Arozarena. If we're focusing on rotisserie fantasy baseball, steals are really important. Randy has 26 steals through 183 games. Tyler O'Neill only 21 steals through 309. Though we did see that tick up last season. Again, Tyler O'Neill is fast. Base stealing is a skill. It's not just about sprint speed. It's anticipation and understanding the machinations of the pitcher and the battery in itself. So, from a counting stat point of view, we'd have to give Tyler O'Neill the edge with power, his 55 home runs to Randy's 28, but we're going to have to dive on a bit more into these young careers. We're going to focus on some input stats rather than output stats because I think they're more effective in predicting what we're going to see. And, of course, last thing, if you're just going apples to apples on the StatCast sliders, the edge has to go to Tyler O'Neill. A lot more red than blue on that one. When I'm looking at player debates, the first place I like to go is to their disciplinary metrics. And the reason why is because I feel like that is one of the things fully in control of the hitter. We know round balls, bouncing off round bats, you know, the results there can be kind of wonky. You miss by a millimeter here or there, or poor defense, bad routes, weird bounces, and outputs can change. It's not really what we're interested in. So I like to start with discipline, and that would be the major red flag for Tyler O'Neill. The graph on the chart is 2021 only, but O'Neill's strikeout rate over 31% with only a 7% walk rate. That is not great. 24% K minus walk is going to get you in trouble. However, the chase rate at 32% is average or a little bit better than average, and the in-zone contact rate at 77, probably what you'd expect from a power hitter. So though they're not good, a swinging strike rate at 17 is certainly not. They have not been totally detrimental. These are on the edge of being bad, of even being really bad, but they're not terrible if you can back it up with the profile. And I think as we get through this exercise, we'll see that Tyler O'Neill does just that. On the very edge of the graph, I made sure to put OBP because that's really the real reflection, right? The manifestation of the disciplinary metrics. And with all those bad discipline stats, his OBP has not suffered. It was only 4 bips. That's 1,000th of a point less than Randy Arozarena's 356. Arozarena's disciplinary basket, though it's better, is not that much better. 28% K to 9% walk, better on both edges. I do not try and bring a slant into this. These numbers don't lie. But a 20% K minus walk, not great. He is very good at not chasing his O-swing down below 29, but his in-zone contact rate at 76 is actually worse than that of Tyler O'Neill. 14% swing strike rate for the Macho Man, leaving him with a 356 OBP. So though the disciplinary metrics have been a lot better for Randy than Tyler, they really haven't manifested. Like I said, we really haven't seen the output that we want. So in the first round, we'll have to give the edge to Randy. Let's move on to our batting averages. Now, yes, I know I said we're going to focus on input, but I think we have to see the output stats. I tried to add the StatCast metrics side by side to help to validate what we've seen. I already mentioned the OBP. Tyler O'Neill with a distinct edge in ISO. That's a percentage of extra base hits, 274 to only 185. And then across the board, the edge goes to O'Neill. Granted, an 11-point difference in batting average, 12-point difference, actually, sorry for my bad elementary school math, is not enough to be actionable. But when you look at the XBA, Tyler O'Neill's expected batting average of 274 really validates the 286, where Randy Arozarena's expected batting average is 216. Listen, again, on a standalone, these are not enough to act, but that's certainly a red flag. Continue across the right on the graph where we go from slugging, X-slug, WOBA, and X-WOBA. Tyler O'Neill with the distinct advantage. 100 points of slug, 112 points in X-slug. Really, really a big disparity there. Tyler O'Neill has the clear edge as far as power goes, and you also see that reflected in Randy Arozarena's 350 WOBA, which is good. 307 expected is below average. So I do like Randy the Macho Man. I've drafted him in the past looking for the power and speed, but that is a major red flag. I think we'd see a pullback in the counting stats, which I provided for you up on the top. Again, really similar in 2021. Tyler O'Neill, really 60 plate appearances behind Randy. They had very similar ribby plus run outputs, 169 to 163, Tyler O'Neill to Randy, respectively. And the steals, Tyler had 15 to Randy's 20. And how, yes, those 5 steals make a big difference, but we're talking apples to apples here. You can't have both of these guys unless you're lucky enough to get them at the back of the 4-5 turn. We're really focusing on a single player to have an edge in this exercise, and I think so far it has to go to O'Neill. There's not enough difference in steals so far or in disciplinary output to give the tip of the cap to Randy. So right now, getting through these first couple baskets, for me, it's Tyler O'Neill, and it's not particularly close. Let's get into the last piece where we're looking at elevation. Let's start at that first, of course. We want the ball lifted in the air. We know batting average is lower on fly balls, but you can't hit a home run when it bounces off the floor. Randy Arozarena's 49% ground ball rate is entirely too high, with a line drive rate right at 18, fly ball rate at 33. Tyler O'Neill, again, with the distinct advantage across the board, 36 on the ground, 23 line drive, 41 fly ball. I mean, the elevation clearly goes to O'Neill, as does the hard hit rates. I provided both of the major hard hit accountings there. That would be Fangraphs, that uses Baseball Information Solutions, which has a bit of a subjective element. The other one is StatCast, which uses a raw 95-mile-an-hour metric. People often ask me which is best. The answer is both. I'm also really trying to stress not overreacting to any one thing, but the big shaking but here. If you like Randy and think the power is comparable, Tyler O'Neill has the edge in hard hit rate by 10% in each of the websites. This is not something we could sneeze at. His 52% hard hit rate, that's Tyler O'Neill, is near the top of the league with all of the very best hitters that you can name. Now, let's take a stop real quick and go back up to that title line where I didn't just add launch angle, all important. I've now added standard deviation of launch angle. Again, people don't freak out. I covered this in the last video. I won't go too much into it, but standard deviation of launch angle is very important. Just think of it as launch angle tightness. We want our hitters to keep the ball within a tight ray, not spraying it all over the place, right? No, too many pop-ups and too many ground balls leave you with a wide standard deviation. We want it narrowed, and then once we know it's narrow, 28 degrees or better is usually the sign of a very good hitter. We then want it lifted, and again, it's Tyler O'Neill by a country mile. His standard deviation of launch angle below 28 degrees. Randy's is at 32. Check mark for O'Neill, and his launch angle itself at 18 to Randy's 7.8. 10-degree increase on O'Neill. So not only does he hit it harder, he hits it higher, and he hits it tighter than Arozarena. Really, really hard to give Arozarena the tip of the cap anywhere here. Let's make our way into the barrel metrics. Tyler O'Neill's 18% barrel rate near the top of the board in the majors to Randy's 8. When you have somebody doubled in barrel rate, you gotta go with the doubled. Blast rate, if you're unfamiliar, is the ideal subset of barrels. It's the barrel of barrels. 13% for Tyler O'Neill to less than 5 for Randy. The DHH you see there is dynamic hard hit rate, originally written about by Connor K on Twitter, who's since been picked up by the Astros. Super smart dude. It's a combination of launch angle and exit velocity, a dynamic hard hit rate. Higher is better. Again, Tyler O'Neill near 32%. I think that's top 5 in the league with the home run, the fly ball to boot. Really hard to get away from Tyler O'Neill as I make my way through this. I'm not sure where the edge is for Arozarena at all, outside of a little bit better of a disciplinary metrics, a small smidge potentially in on-base percentage, and a handful of steals, which are pretty wonky. And again, we saw O'Neill stealing bases, but if you can get nearly double the home run output, I think we need to look to make up those 5 steals elsewhere. Across the board for a full complement of profile, I got to go with Tyler O'Neill here. The last place, we want to look when we're looking to portend next year's output would be those Steamer stats. Steamer has them pretty close, has Tyler O'Neill returning $20.50 to Randy Arozarena's $16.70. Games and plate appearances all really similar, as is runs, 85 and 88. Doesn't matter which one you got. Steamer has O'Neill for 37 home runs to Randy Arozarena's 25. They have Randy for 19 steals to Tyler's 13. So I think they agree with me here that there's a ton of disparity in homers and maybe not as much when it comes to steals. So for me, this one is actually pretty easy. As I make my way through it, I really don't have any doubts right now. When my number is called in that draft room, particularly in Roto, but I think the same goes for points leagues as well, you gotta go with the gun show. Give me the 24-inch Pythons and Tyler O'Neill for those St. Louis Redbirds. That'll do it for us here today on Corked Stats at the Mayo Media Net. Please make sure you subscribe. Get up in the comments. Let them know how I'm doing and tell them that they did a good job bringing on me, you, and the Corked Stats crew. Everybody, thanks so much for picking up what I'm putting down. Remember, when you work this hard, it feels a lot less like luck. I catch you in the draft room. I catch you on the flip side, everybody. Peace, yo.